So a lot of times I say that success can be systemized, despite it being completely different in terms of what success looks like for each individual person. Now, the one step that I want to talk about today is learning how to control your mind. That's a very important step in the process of achieving success and what that looks like for you. And today we're going to be talking about how it is you'll be able to essentially brainwash yourself to achieve success. Welcome back to Motivate, Grind, Succeed, the podcast, a show that helps you to systemize success in the four foundational pillars of faith, fellowship, fitness, and finance through high performance habits. My name is Rasean, and I'm your host, as well as your favorite internet neurotransformation coach. And as I said before, we are going to be talking about how to brainwash yourself for success. So let's hop right into it. Before we get into the 5 ways that I want to talk about in this episode of how to essentially brainwash yourself for success, I want to make one thing very, very clear to you as some background before we hop right into this. And that is that everything that you interface with, you interact with, it influences your mind, whether you realize it or not. Everything that you see, you hear, you touch, you smell, you taste, all 5 of your senses, it all affects you. For example, if you have anything that you see, you have sight, there's pleasant colors versus colors that you probably don't want to see as much. Someone's has a smile on their face. That will change your mood. There's an unwanted altercation. Somebody wants to square up with you. That's going to change your mood. When you hear things, laughter versus crying, if you hear my voice, it has a certain effect on you. When you touch something, if it's smooth versus if it's rough, that causes an emotional response. If something's soft, like memory foam, or if it's hard, like a piece of wood, that will cause a reaction. That will cause an emotion. Smell, something sweet versus repulsive, something tastes salty or bitter or savory. What I'm getting at with this is that we will always have these influences. This is how we interact with the world. However, just because we have these influences and they happen to us does not mean that we cannot control them. There's a stark difference between reactions and responses. And so what we're going to be talking about today is essentially how to brainwash yourself. We're going to be focusing more on the response side, since that is something we can control. We cannot control everything. I understand that. You understand that. But that does not give us the right nor the throw your hands up in the air type of mentality to just say, well, if I can't control it, it is what it is. We cannot control everything. We cannot control, for example, hearing bad news on the TV, but you can control your response to it. You can't control if somebody burns your food in the restaurant and you were hungry all day and this is all that you had to eat. You can't control if the food gets burned, but you can control your response to the situation. So you can kind of see where I'm going with this, and that the reaction that we have most of the times cannot be controlled, but the response can be. So it's very important that we are cognizant of what it is that we do day in and day out when certain circumstances happen to us. And so how do we go ahead and tune our responses so that way they become more beneficial to us, so that we can start to see some tactical change in our life? Well, that's where we have the 5 steps that I'm going to go through. Number 1 is to start your day off right. That means wake up without snoozing. Snoozing starts your day with a failure. How so? Because when you snooze your alarm clock, you told yourself, hey, I'm going to wake up at, give me a time, 6:30 in the morning for a specific purpose. You said you were going to wake up at that time. The fact that you hit snooze, you didn't achieve that goal. The goal was wake up at 6:30, and now you hit snooze, and now it's 6:35. You already filled your first goal of the day. So when you wake up immediately, that's already a win. I know it seems small, it seems kind of petty, it seems kind of trivial, but little things add up. You might not feel like waking up on time was a perfect thing. Like you might think this is just a day in, day out thing, but subconsciously it's a win. And you don't always notice things in your subconscious, which is why I talk about the things that I do to bring to light all the 95% of things that we do that we don't even realize. So on top of starting your day off right, you also want to have good morning feelings. Wake up with gratitude and positivity. That doesn't mean wake up and smile and say, oh, today's a wonderful day. I'm going to love today. It's going to be the greatest time of my life. It doesn't mean do all that. No one's asking you to do that. But what I am asking you to do is to simply just wake up And before you hit the alarm clock to go ahead and turn it off and you start getting like, oh, I got to go to work today. Instead of saying that, be thankful that you can get up and go to work. And this is an episode for you as much as it is for me, because when those days get tough, I'm going to play this episode back. 164. I'm going to have this thing on repeat, hearing myself, giving myself motivation of, hey, you have a job. Hey, you're making money. You might not be the world's best at this point in time, but it is what you make of it. What's the alternative? You could be unemployed. You could be unemployed where you're not making nearly as much. You could be back into the unemployment world trying to find a job, but you have something here. There are people out there with less than you who have been looking for longer than you, who would die to have a job right now. And here you are complaining about it. So that's the kind of mindset to have. Instead of waking up being so sick and tired of what you got to do, be thankful that you actually have something that you can actually go to. And then the last point that I want to bring up as well with starting your day right is the morning routine. Have an intentional morning routine. Now, this does not mean you have to go about your life and say, oh, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. and I start from 5 to 5:10 with a morning meditation. I get my sunlight and open the curtains and let the sun hit me in the face. I made sure that I got an apartment or a home that has east-facing windows so I can wake up with the sunrise. Then I go for a cold shower from 5:10 to 5:20, where I go ahead and wake my body up with that. Then I go for a cold plunge after the cold shower for no reason whatsoever except for the clicks and views. No, you don't have to do all that, okay? No one's asking you to do all that. Hopefully we're past the point where you already know that's not necessary. And we're to the point now where you understand all I have to do is just wake up, be able to do something to get my brain into a state of gratitude, positivity, and ability to say, okay, time to get to work. That's it. My morning routine, I've said it before, is I literally just wake up, head to the bathroom, freshen up, come back, turn on the computer, get to work. If I'm super tired, I grab a cup of coffee, come back, get to work. I don't have no cold plunge. There's no cold showers unless I'm really, really tired. Then I really need that quick shocker. Then, okay, I'll take a cold shower. But that's not every day. So the idea is to have a morning routine that is intentional and gets you in the mode of not only gratitude, but being able to get to work as soon as possible. So that's point number one. Point number two is to control your inputs. Do your very best to avoid negative news, because negative news can and will demotivate you. It's sad. I'm not going to get super into it, but it's super sad when you turn on the news and hear somebody passed away, this house burned down, and all these kind of things. And it's very sad to see. Now, I'm not saying don't be informed, okay? I'm not saying don't watch the news, don't be informed, okay? That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is to limit your exposure to negative media. If you want to find out about something, you can just look up breaking news instead of being fed whatever the TV, or if you listen to radio, whatever that's feeding you. Just look for the things yourself instead of being bombarded by what the TV programs and the radio programs are choosing to give to you. Limit your exposure to negative media. That includes things on social media. Limit your interactions. Instead of feeling led to leave a comment, how about just watch it and keep scrolling? If it hurts you that badly, don't look at it at all. Close the app. Don't open it. I've said this before on episodes way back when I did an Instagram detox and I removed friends that did not benefit me on the platform. I simply uninstalled the app for a while, and it was the greatest time of my life. It was great. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was great. It was tough to do the detox at first, but after the first couple days, it was great because there was no temptation to go look at Instagram and find updates and all these kind of things. There was none of that. It was great. And so when you do this and you remove some of that negativity and limit it, naturally you're going to have more time in the day. So what do? You add some things that are productive. You read productive material. You read nonfiction. You read self-help. You read business books. You fill your mind with things that are actually beneficial and positive to you. Because again, you are what you eat. If it's in there, it's going to come out naturally. If you fill your mind with a bunch of positivity and a bunch of good ideas and really great quotes and just really good ways to live your life, super heavy into self-help and personal development, it's going to come out. It's inevitable because it's in there. So it's going to come out. If it's not in there, it can't come out. Third things you could do is surround yourself with the right people. Evaluate your circle because you are the average of the 5 people that you hang around with. So you want to make sure that you choose people who support you and who uplift you. And so you want to have mentors and role models. That's the most important thing I want to leave you with point number 3 here, and that is mentors and role models. You want to have people that are on the same path as you. I recommend at least 2 people. One person who is, I would say, between 1 year at a bare minimum, but safely 2 years to about 4 years ahead of you in terms of where you want to be. Find one person who is 2 to 4 years ahead of you, study them, copy them, become a mentee of them. The second person is someone who is about 10 plus years ahead of you. That person is going to help to inspire you and guide you. The person who's 2 to 4 years ahead, that's more tactics, operations, day to day. The person who is 10 plus years ahead, that is the person you look to for inspiration and eventual reaching of that goal. Try to have at least 2 people. One person 2 to 4 years and one person that's 10 plus years ahead of you. Shameless plug. If you want to get help with understanding this, I have a book out, The Social Blueprint. It's a free ebook. There's also an audio version available for you who like to listen to it as well. It's going to help you to understand how people impact you both consciously and subconsciously, and also how to be able to create and prune and be able to make that circle as good as possible for you. So if you want to check it out, check out the link in this episode's description for The Social Blueprint, and you're welcome. So the fourth point that I have for you is to feed your body well. I'm not going to spend too long on this because it kind of goes without saying. You want to eat nutritious foods to maintain your energy. It wasn't until I went on a keto diet and really, really tried to go on a keto diet. Now, I'm not saying keto is the world's best thing, but hang with me here. It was when I went on the keto diet and I heavily limited carbohydrates, processed sugars, all that kind of stuff. That's when I noticed I had better overall energy. I depended on energy drinks a whole lot less. I had no cravings for sugary foods and junk foods. I literally just ate meat and greens. That's literally it. It was just meat and vegetables. That was it. Like I would eat chicken breast and asparagus. That was the staple. Okay, seasoned chicken breast and oven roasted asparagus. That was it. It sounds bland. It sounds boring, but as a person who really likes to eat chicken, I'm just like a meat fiend, okay? I'm an absolute meat fiend. But for someone like me, keto was perfectly fine. I got into ketosis after about a week and a half or so, and I just stayed in that state. Honestly, the energy I had was fantastic. I had no crashes. I had sustainable energy all day long. There was no swings from all the carbohydrates that I was eating. It wasn't until I got off of ketosis and off of the keto diet and went back to eating the breads and pastas that I started to feel that energy spike and lull. I felt that again. I didn't really want that. So now I've switched to essentially a low carb diet. Keto is not long-term. Keto is not good long-term. I would recommend low carb for long-term. That's kind of what I do. And I've been doing low carb ever since. So I recommend feed your body well. Stay away from the processed junk. Stay away from all the stuff that's not good for you. Just stick to simple foods naturally, stay hydrated, drink plenty of water, and of course, exercise regularly. Last thing is intentional activities. Assess all the actions you take. This is going to seem weird, but you want to assess every single action that you take. Ask yourself if every single action with the circumstances that you are given positively or negatively affect your goals. Assuming you know what your goals are, does the activity and the choices that you make push you closer to or push you further away from that goal that you have? Simple question. Is it pushing me closer? Yes or no? If the answer is no, it's not pushing me closer, it's pushing me away, which means you have to make a different choice to push yourself towards it. It's only when you have these moments of reflection where you will actually realize, okay, this is what I need to do to achieve the goal I set for myself. Second shameless plug, if you want to know how to set better goals, I'll have another ebook called Your Goals Suck, but you can change that. Also in this episode's description, if you want to check out how to make better goals, we go through a really great framework that I utilize to help me set goals that are painstaking in detail, but it has accountability and everything built in. So if you want to check that out, also free just for you guys, because I really want to help you guys out. Check it out in the episode's description. With that being said, guys, we're at the end of the episode. What I really want to leave you with, again, we'll just run through those points real fast. And in order to help brainwash yourself for success, you want to 1, start your day right. 2, control your inputs. 3, surround yourself with the right people. 4, feed your body well. And 5, have intentional activities. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you implement something. And I will see you in the next episode. And guys, that's going to wrap up this week's episode of Motivate, Grind, Succeed, the podcast. Guys, again, if you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe to the show for weekly uploads. If you love what you heard, be sure to sign up for that email list. And if you hated what you heard, be sure to share it with somebody who will appreciate it. Also, if you guys want to get access to the show notes or any kind of resource or link or to anything that was referenced in this episode, be sure to check out that episode description below. You'll also find the contact information, any freebies, or any sort of thing from our little corner of the internet. Check out the episode description. It's going to be an absolute gold mine for you guys. Until next time, take care, and I will see you in the next episode.